Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. So today, let us understand the properties of Ketu with regard to medical astrology. As we know the nature of planets, Ketu gives mixed results, but primarily Ketu is a cold planet, a frozen kind of a planet. So when somebody becomes pale because of loss of hemoglobin, somebody becomes pale because of a sudden traumatic fear, the face goes pale, or somebody becomes inactive because of sudden shock, we call it as mental trauma. This is given because of Ketu. So let us go into understand what actually Ketu does for a person with regard to the medical astrology. Ketu represents Sukshma Sharira. So if you go through my video on chakras, you'll understand that I have defined the planets and the chakras in a different way, starting with Sun in the Sahasrara chakra, with Saturn in the Mooladhara chakra, Rahu, who is the Sthula Sharira, that is the uh, body cavity is filled with mass. That is how we get the shape, that is Rahu. And then the Sukshma Sharira, the aura around us by Ketu. So Ketu is the one which defines how we, look from the other one's perspective. Like when somebody sees us, they will feel that there is zeal and zest if there is a strong Ketu. But if a weak Ketu is posited in the Lagna or weak Ketu is posited in the third house, that is when Ketu is afflicted with moon, let us say. Moon and Ketu combination is not a good combination. Sun and Ketu combination is not a great combination. So when the mind or the confidence, the soul gets hit, then the appeal of the person falls down. So let us understand one by one the features of Ketu. Failure of any organ. The most important point is failure of any organ, because organs keep functioning from the day of your birth in their own capacities, and as you grow to your middle age and your old age, different organs start malfunctioning because of our own treatment towards it. So if we do not take care of ourselves with regard to our health, the organs will start malfunctioning. So failure of any organ, dental problems, because Ketu represents drilling, putting a bore inside a root canal, removal of teeth, all this comes under Ketu. Speech defects comes because when Ketu falls in such a place like the second house with Saturn or with the second lord and a weak Mercury in the chart, the person goes through speech defects, stammering, or let us say non-continuous abrupted speech. Like a person does not have a flow of thought, so he thinks like and then tells a word so he will have a gap in between with that thinking gap. So speech defects are also from Ketu. Viral fevers, infections, painful fevers. Like I'll give you a fever, I'll not give you a fever, sorry. I will give you an example of a particular fever which comes because of or herpes, the infection of herpes. We call it as sarpasuttu or the serpentine kind of a disease where you get it because of the viral infection inside your ribs, in the spinal cord or somewhere. So you get it around your body. You get all these boils, very painful and extremely itchy. So this herpes is clearly defined by Rahu and Ketu axis. That is why I took Sarpasuttu as one of the diseases which has to be explained under Ketu. Tuberculosis, acute abdominal pain, ulcers, ulcers which can also be inflammatory in nature if Mars is also associated with Ketu in giving the disease. Anyway, we know that Ketu and Rahu both define poison. So, food poisoning or animal poisoning like bee bite, wasp bite, hornets bite, snakes bite, all these poisonous bites are also seen from Ketu. But here we are not to get confused with canine bites and feline bites, like suddenly a dog bites somebody. That's all that comes under Rahu. There's a slight difference there, but still, this is a bite where you have a thin pin-like structure going and hitting, like mosquito bite, wasp bite. So all stings. So that is Ketu. So people who are having a weak Ketu and posited along with the eighth lord or in the eighth house, weakly posited with the Lagna weak, then those people will not have the confidence to live life and they will have tendencies to unnecessarily take up bad, sudden panic decisions of getting into some, crazy ideas of taking their own life. So I'll not use that word. That's why I took the whole route around. So they have the tendencies, crazy tendencies, which actually is a act of cowardice. So phobias, people have a lot of phobias, like um, like myself, I have a phobia where I can't have a huge gathering of people and I'm in between and I feel a little suffocated, something like claustrophobic. So people have different kinds of phobia. Some people don't want to go on a drive on a car or in a car or on a bus. They don't want to go on a drive on a road, but they are very happy on a railroad. In a train, they are very happy. So there are different phobias. Like going to a doctor itself is a phobia. So all these phobias are to be attached with Ketu. So there are other things like laparoscopy, keyhole surgeries, and anywhere where we drill, you puncture, you cut, you fix, you put nails, you join them, put the string, tie them. All these medical things, what people do inside our body when we are unconscious and on that operation theater, it's bad. We don't know what all they do. And when you go into the detail, you'll understand. You already have a foreign part in your body, like a nail, or you have some staplers coming under Ketu. Bigger implantations like steel rods or plates come with Saturn, Sun, Rahu, other planets which are representing metal and representing bigger operations. So Ketu is like you are doing it with laser, like for example, blasting the gallbladder stones using laser or kidney stones using laser comes under Ketu. When Ketu gets associated with Mercury and it is badly posited, and if Mars is weak in the chart, see, you need to have multiple combinations here, but this is an effect which can take a person to getting seizures. or strokes. It's not that everybody will go through these problems, but it is a very rare case. But I have seen a lot of charts with Mars weak, that is the strength of blood, weak. And then Mercury and Ketu are strong negatives in the chart, hitting the health. And one more thing is that when Moon, Mercury, and Ketu are badly positioned in the chart, there is a chance of a person getting vitiligo. I'm telling a chance, I'm not telling that it is a surety. But still, the skin will be weak and it will have a tendency to give problems like vitiligo or leukoderma. So, fractures, amputations, amputations which are caused because of injuries, amputations which are caused because of accidents, or amputations which are caused because of an other disease like gangrene or any other diseases. So it is also coming under Ketu. So just imagine a simple operation which was earlier days a very big mystery. Many years ago when there was the medical field had not grown much, like the appendix, which was, many people get into some problems of the appendix in the younger age, where it will start growing and it will blow up and it can also burst, resulting death. So, removal of the appendix, which is not much of a problem nowadays, which is a very simple process, which again comes under Ketu. It's an amputation or cutting off a part which is inside the body. It's not outside. It's not an it's not like a limb or a finger. So it's an appendage. So all these medical factors come under Ketu. So the best remedy for Ketu, with all this, we need to know the remedial factor for Ketu. Keep yourself warm. Keep yourself healthy with eating fresh food, because usually Ketu, people will resort to untimely food habits. Their taste buds are very different. So please have good practices of hygiene. Ketu is usually hygienic, but when it is weak, people have very low hygienic values. Be hygienic, because you get infected through water and air very easily if you have a bad placement of Ketu in the chart. So thank you very much for today's class.